You want to make 3 slides, one from 1985, 94 I have here,
Yeah.
or one from 2005 for examples.
Yeah.
How you think you would write the same slide in a different way?
Take it again, because I didn't forget.
Because you
Yeah.
wrote the slide
Yeah.
from perspective from 94.
Yes,
that looked
yeah.
away.
Yeah.
I'm saying before you became the real
Yeah,
manager,
yeah.
when you work as a like 1985
Yeah, yeah.
or let's say 80,
Yeah.
and when you become the senior manager, you are in 2005.
Yeah, yeah.
If you see that,
Yeah.
how you will see the difference how the organization has changed?
Oh, no, but that's a very, very difficult, very interesting question, because everyone wants to have an entrepreneur organization, everyone, but of course, when an organization grows, it's impossible, it cannot grow, because you must have more things, I would say, structured and so forth. So that is probably the biggest change, I would say. But if you go back in this slide, but also if you take this generic slide, it doesn't talk about organization so much, really. But the trick is how you can maintain the entrepreneurship, how you can keep people taking initiatives in a bigger organization, because the problem there is to balance, since the risks become so much higher if you make mistakes. So that you must have as a manager, I always made sure that I had people sitting next to me that had completely different perspectives on life. Because I'm by nature optimistic. Some people say too optimistic, but they're wrong, of course. So I need pessimists at my side, and I think it comes to, and that's a separate about how you can build teams, because I would say that you have to put together the team that represents all these things, but the foundations are still here. I mean, for instance, solutions before blaming, that you can apply in any organization, regardless of size. Of course you can. Most of these things you can do, regardless of size.
The next question is here.
Hello, Bo, this is Ribati. My question is that if you look at the hydrogen, there was a lot of hype actually created. And what has happened, how do you view this technology? Why it actually seems to be lagging behind, or almost actually lost the race when it comes to the battery?
Hydrogen, okay. Well, that's hydrogen is one. If you remember, Gunnar Asplund had hydrogen in his chart. Hydrogen storage. Why hydrogen has not taken off? Well, it's for me it's a matter of efficiency. Probably because anything that you can do with direct electrification is better to do it without going via using hydrogen. But of course, hydrogen today is primarily, I would say, hydrogen will be used in processes like we see now in industrial processes like steel making. Hydrogen in the power system, for me, has limited use, to be put it mildly, because I don't see really, because to use electricity to make hydrogen and make it back to electricity is a very inefficient process. And batteries have become so much better, so much cheaper, and you saw the cost curve. And my projection, if I use again Gunnar Asplund's formula, you will see batteries that cost about $20 per kilowatt hour. And then I don't see the space for hydrogen storage, because you don't need this longer term. Then you can. It's more likely you will use other types of fuel, like it can be ammonia, for instance. I think it's so now hydrogen for industrial processes, yes. For power systems, maybe, but very, very limited use. Very limited. If you look also at studies that they made, for instance, in Australia, how much storage do you need actually in the system and which type of storage, you find that long duration storage is a very, very small market. And then I would be even so pragmatic to say that the amount you need is so small, you can use fossil gas even, because the volumes are so small.
The next question comes from here.
SAD. I have a question regarding where do you see our position today in terms of technology and innovation in the market? And do you have a prognosis for the future, for the near future?
No, it's an interesting question because, but I don't have the insight, but I mean, the success in the market speaks for that you have been quite successful in keeping the heritage and maintaining the leadership. Of course, you have today another generation shift in semiconductors coming. And that will be another challenge to manage that. But I have no doubts that can be done. But it's another challenge, of course. Whenever there is a shift in technology, there is a risk. And I can say in this room that in the 1990s, we spent about 400 million SEK on silicon carbide. Wasted money because we were too early. Today, as you know, silicon carbide, so there are also gallium nitride, there are new types of semiconductors. And there, I have one, is anyone from transformers here? No, then I can say. Because one of the top projects we had was to make transformerless converters. Isn't that great? And one day they will come. Because semiconductors get more power, and if you look at this power converter we have now for a computer, they used to have transformers. Everything is transformerless. Today you can start buying bigger transformerless, but using more semiconductors. If that technology will come, then it's, I would say, extremely important that you don't miss that opportunity. I see Magnus is here. He's probably, you have it on your radar somewhere.
Yes, we do have silicon carbide in the R&D, but as you said, we were early in the 90s, and then we tried again, and our Lensburg factory still have problems to get the right yield of the silicon carbide. But as you say, if it really becomes commercial, it's a game changer.
Yeah. But there I think also if you keep the tradition, try also to watch, because we thought at that time that we could, within the HVD's operation, we could develop silicon carbide. But today I think it was very naive, because the market is very, very small. Today silicon carbide in volume is, you find it in the cars. There you have the volume market, and that will drive the development. That was the same thinking when we developed this Mac control system, that instead of developing a control system from scratch, we should take what was out there available and then tweak it a little and use best practice from other people. I think also for DC, you will see other sectors will develop products that you can use in the DC application. That's likely, I would say. But again, remember the slide I showed you. If you have 6 key technologies, and one of them is DC, that's quite interesting to see how the market looks as it today. Today, DC is not something odd that you take when you cannot do anything else. It's a base. You see that also now we start using DC on different levels in the system. So eventually you will see DC not only in transmission but in other parts also.
Next question.
Okay, another HVDC colleague, Jonas Widerhed. I have 2 questions. The first one is regarding the kind of scaling we're in now. We're of course seeing a lot of challenges in growing so fast, and Magnus can probably attest to that. But you did a scaling that was even percentage-wise even more in the 1980s. Do you have any ideas from that time and successes that you can share with us? What we could do to manage this now? And the second one was, if you would name VSC today, do you have another idea than light?
Thank you. 2 good questions. First of all, scaling. Scaling is, as you know, scaling is one of the weaknesses we have in West compared to China, because they are masters in scaling. We are not. from the scaling we did when we made from 40 up to 300 plus there, to be honest, as we say in Sweden, when we're honest, we were saved by the fact that the product was delayed. So we got 2 more years. But on the one thing I can say about scaling also is, again, if I would give an advice to here, that consult people that in other businesses that have done scaling. That's always a good idea to look, because other people have done it. They had the challenge, they've done it. And today there is a whole bag of experience also with former Northvolt people that know how you can fail when you scale too fast. And I'm serious here. Use it. Use the experience. I can give you names even. People that they know what because that was one of the failures. They didn't manage to scale. And no, I cannot give you an advice. The advice would be talk to someone that has been scaling and use it. And I also, on the same context, I have good friends working at Volvo cars. And you know, Volvo cars, they work very, very closely with China. So of course, Volvo now, they've also had scaling problems. And they have now taken, I would say, more input from China, how you scale. And people say, well, scale, China you cannot compare. Well, you can in fact compare to some extent, because, and it's something also I keep advising people. Remember that in the early stages then, where we were building projects in 24 months, which is difficult to do today. And I think the way we did this was we had an extremely distributed decision. The decision power was far out in the organization. That was how we could build it so fast. And of course we made some mistakes, but if speed is of essence, then you have to send it out in the organization. That's even, you know, this is how military operations are done today. I listened to a guy about the war in Ukraine. There, people out actually in the front have decision power there. They don't need to go to the back office. So that's probably a key. Then about the name. We thought Light was a fantastic name. And of course Siemens with plus, what is plus? What is, no, I haven't. Lars, you're usually creative. What would be better name than Light?
Light is better, yeah.
No, but something better than Light.
It's not so light yet.
No. But I have to, it was clever to have a name like this, brand name. That was good. We protected the brand name, you know. That was, I have to think about it and come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
So I know you are an early adapter of new technologies.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, in your view, how can artificial intelligence support our HVDC business going forward?
I have to say there, I'm an early adopter. I have also, now I have even grandchildren that are mentoring me. I'm almost shocked about the power and the increase in power. If you look today and 6 months ago, enormous difference. So I think people that don't embrace this, and there are some obvious things. If you want, fact finding, then it's, you can do it in no time. But also, I think what you have to train yourself in, that is, what they call prompting, how do you put the questions. And then you have to train this, and also be aware of that. For me, AI is most powerful if you use it in an area that you know quite well. Because then you can put the right questions. Then you can judge and you can tweak it. And you know, they are very polite, these AI engines, because if you say, well, they come and say, but this cannot be good. Oh, you're absolutely right, it was wrong. No, but seriously, I think also, there are so many, and as I mentioned, I work now with a lot of with batteries. And there I have, I don't know battery technology in detail, but I know enough to put the right, and I'm amazed what kind of information you can get about new technologies, pros and cons. But I also learned something which is quite surprising by this fact. You get a different answer if you ask in Swedish or English, same question. How come? They must know, but you have to start using it, and because it's, but you have to challenge it. For me, I have a theory there, my own theory. Since AI is good if you have judgment and common sense to judge the response. This is a dream for more experienced people, not for junior people, as people believe. For experienced people, they can get a tremendous boost in productivity with AI, much higher than because if you're less experienced, you cannot judge. If you're more experienced, you can judge. So it's good. You can work longer. That's
okay. Yeah, short question. To me, it seems like. To me, it seems a converter valve is likely to be a very highly prioritized target, and also a very vulnerable target if there will ever be a strategic bombing campaign subjected to Europe. In your opinion, does this warranty a restart of the original HDC idea to have smaller links distributed in another way?
Absolutely yes, I would say, because again, if you go back to where you have the modern war in Ukraine, they said they will never build a big unit, never, of anything. And that maybe light is the right answer. It should be smaller. But what goes against this again is economy of scale. You cannot. This is a dilemma, but I think also that you have to build robustness in different ways. And one thing, if you talk about the power system, which people are already looking at, that you must build a system to survive. You must have a survival mode, so to say. This is why I believe so much in storage, and especially distributed. I don't believe in building super big storage. That's ridiculous. Build many small and then distribute them, because, again, if you look at the battery, the price per kilowatt is not lower for a big battery than a small, because the unit, the cheapest battery you can buy is a power bank. It's the cheapest per kilowatt hour. So distribute. When it comes to transmission, I think of course we will have this bigger transmission line, but there will of course be a tendency to build more and smaller. I think that's, and people will pay the premium even if it's more costly. They will do it. That's likely, I would say.
You're talking for a while about transportless.
Yeah.
And there I questions about if you have smaller devices like computers, or you use DC converters, and again you get that you can choose your frequency for a transmitter and have a smaller transmitter. And that is not really be able for now in these high power systems, but it can come when the cost for valves get low enough.
Yeah.
So, do you foresee in the future, can it take 10 years, 20 years or more years before it can be a business of it?
I believe it will happen. It's and of course, that's why we choose 320 kilowatt, by the way, and 640. So it should match 400 kV AC. So it was on purpose. It was not that was to fit transformerless converter. But of course, as you said, and this is one of the things I would say. A lot of things are positive. One thing that is not so positive is if you look at DC and high voltage, the costs have not come down really. There will be a cost pressure, and of course, I believe also with new semiconductor, but we must get access to components that are built in much higher volumes. bring the cost down. But then it will come, and I said again, this is why 320 and 640. Don't forget that it was Gunnar Asplund's idea. It was not a coincidence. We chose that.
Any more questions?